Hello, everybody. Super good morning. Happy Vesak Day for those of you who are celebrating Vesak Day, right? So today is the Vesak Day for at least my country, lah, right? So again, Vesak Day is another one more day whereby different countries seems to like to celebrate it at a different day. Right, so yeah, we are back at the juncture of rebuilding the QiMen database, and we are at the place whereby we are looking at the 9 stars. And today we have the weirdest stars of all the stars. Actually, in all the QiMen component, this is the most weird one, which is basically called the bird, right? Heavenly bird, right? So heavenly bird, Ting Kam Sing, right? Kam is the one that is in Cantonese called Kam Sao, right? Kam Sao is basically Kam is flying creature, Sao is land creature. So you put those flying and land creature is called Kam Sao. Fish is under land creature, okay? Right, so for those, what about fish? What about fish? Fish is under land creature. Right, so these are Kam mean air creature, aerial creature. Right, so now what about insect? Insects are not recognized as creature. All right, so no, yeah, today is a Monday, right? So it's 12th of May today, right? So hello, I can see Pepper is around. Eclipse is around. Eclipse is very happy to be joining us in the morning, right? So early bird catches the worm. Nowadays, no need to go catch worm lah. Right. So hello, Manuel. Hello, Catherine. How are you doing? Right. So hopefully everyone is doing well lah. Right. So come, let's go in and take a look at the weird and wonderful world of the heavenly bird. Let me just shrink myself down to the small version, right? So, as normal, usual, right? So, Telegram, good to get in touch with me, right? So, and then there's the newsletter whereby I publish everything about forecast, right? So, the next round of forecast is actually coming out already. For those of you who have not signed up for the newsletter, you better go sign up. Next round mean that, for the next month. Yeah, this month haven't even finished, just started a few days only, then straight away talk about next month. It's like that one, no. Right. So if you want community support, you want to join a group of people like-minded, share your experience, right? So you got things to share. Community channel is good, which is the Facebook page anyway, right? So come and join me, right? Any one of these platform you want to PM me, feel free to do so. You can basically just PM. Right. Hello, William. How are you doing? Right. So this is a achievement chart, right? Today we are talking about achievement. So this is a typical achievement chart, right? So how do you obtain an achievement chart if you have no other software that you're currently using, no other favorite software? Then please just like me use Typing Astro. So this is the software that I'm using, right? So very standard achievement chart. This is used for many different method depending on what you are using it for. Mainly predominantly 90% achievement is used to do an activity called forecast. Forecasting means looking forward, determining what is the energy is allowing you to do, or the energy is in supportive of what activity is not supportive of what activity, in that to help you decide whether you should proceed with your plan or not. That's basically what a forecast would, right? So some people will apply this for destiny reading as well. It's doable, right? So some people apply this as feng shui, again, doable, right? So, but the QiMen is not exactly designed for those things. It's designed to do forecast, right? So, but before you go and do a forecast, or how to basically do the reading, this particular entire series is talking about individual component inside that you might see, so that you have the database to do a proper reading. Without the database, very difficult for you to read. Right, so come, let's go in and take a look. Right, so these are all the components. We got 8 of the door, which we have already covered all of them. You can watch it in the series, of the QiMen Essential series. Then we got 9 stars, which we have already done 4. Today we are going on to the 5th, which is the heavenly bird, right? So, and then you got 10 deities, which we have already done all the 10 deities already, right? So again, you want to watch it, please go back to the series and watch it. You can binge watch all the door and deities together, right? No worry. And then lastly is basically the stamps. And once all this database has been built, then we will move on to what we call structure, right? What we call structure. Structure just means that more than one component come together. It's mixture of stuff coming together. Yeah, it's just that only. So QiMen Tunjia is basically just that, and you got your palaces. So once you are, get into the engine of identifying structure, looking at, but actually structure also don't need you to identify nowadays. Software basically has everything. You just need to learn how to use. Okay, come, let's take a look at Heavenly Bird. Right, so let's take a look at Heavenly Bird, right? So now this one is basically I am using Cyberdyne, which is the Terminator in the fella is called Skynet in the world of Terminator, right? So yes, this is Heavenly Bird is been described as the all-seeing, all-controlling. It is everywhere, but you don't really see it. Type of energy that, right? So it is a very omnibus, special type of energy, and the classical text description is all bunch of rubbish. Later I'll show you some classical text lah, right? So a lot of people like, oh no, what is the classical text say? Frankly speaking, most of the classical text, whatever is written there, is, you don't really call it cryptic. It's really very difficult to use, right? So that's why a lot of the interpretation, is very dependent on the person who's using it and the experience of the person actually experiencing this particular style when it is available, right? So when the fella is doing reading, that time when you add the star in, then only you start to know that, okay, this one represent this one represent that, or else it's really very difficult to understand, especially for something that's not very common. Not very common mean that normal circumstances you actually don't find this style of picture, right? So you don't really find the heavenly bird inside the child. It's only occasionally it will appear, right? So occasionally it will appear. So when it appear that time, it does certain augmentation to the reading. It does certain augmentation to the reading, and what we try to understand is that what does this particular stuff encompass. So just now I explained to you already, the word actually qing kam. Right? So it comes from the word kam sao. Kam mean that anything that flies is a flying creature. It's basically all kam. Then you got sao. Sao is land creature. Right? So in the world of Chinese, animals are divided into flying animal, sky animal, and also land animal. Fishes are all called land animal. Okay, we got the land animal category, we got the flying animal category. No insect. No insect. For some reason, they do not include insects into the reading. Okay, so Kamsao is one. By the way, Kamsao also is part of those. For those of you who are doing Taoism, right? So you're doing Taoism. There is this theory of the 6 cycles of reincarnation. Lục Tô Luân Hồi á. Two of the reincarnation is the bird, line, and also the sound line. So which means everybody, to go through the 6 reincarnation will in your lifetime become a bird, or in your lifetime become some form of, beast. Right? So again, those are for those of you who are studying that line of stuff. If no, just ignore it. It's fine. Come, let's go and take a look at some classical text. This time I included some classical text, just to give you a flavor. If you are those type of people who reference too much classical text, right? Nothing wrong with referencing classical text first, right? So this one, yeah, right? So now, QiMen, one of the very, very famous textbooks, super famous textbook in QiMen, almost every single time also get quoted is the Yinpo Tiu Sao Gou. Right, so don't know how to translate it. I know. So it's the fisherman song. The fisherman song is the easiest for you to learn because of the word tiu. Right, so tiu sao Gou is like a fisherman. When they are sitting there and fishing that time, this is the song that the fisherman is singing. So this is how last time old sages, those with experience, right? They want to tell and then they don't want to tell. They want to tell. They don't want to tell. So what they do is that they pretend to be, leisurely people, and start just uttering and chanting things out. For those people who can understand Yao Yun Yan, those people with it, you can understand, you understand, cannot understand, cannot understand. So this is one of the scripture, right? So it's a pretty long scripture, by the way, right? So if you're studying QiMen, this is the scripture that you will be forced to remember. Right, so if you got time, go and remember it. Don't have time, don't remember it, right? So what does the scripture do? There's actually just a very small sentence on it, right? So it said that 中宫天琴王头, right? So it just basically tell you center palace, there's this bugger called Tianqing, right? So the bird. Wong told me that it's five yellow earth. Right? It just tell you that the uh heavenly bird, it stays inside the center palace, right? So it stays inside the center palace, and the element, the characteristic belongs to the five yellow, right? So which is the earth element, right? So from this particular sentence, you can see that it doesn't really tell you anything. Directly doesn't really tell you anything lah. But if you say that this one is belong to earth, then the heavenly bird automatically will be having the earth characteristic. So not, right now you need to go back to all your earth characteristics, especially the five yellow. So the heavenly bird is actually right. So and in feng shui, five yellow is no good, but in QiMen is good. So how you tell me, right? So this is where they say that how come got conflicting information are not conflicting, right? So five yellow is actually a very big thing. Mr. A look at the right hand side, lower a bit corner of thing, whereas Mr. B is looking at the left hand side, maybe center portion, a bit corner of thing, which means that this is bunch of a lot of people, a lot of blind people here looking at the elephant. Right, so a lot of time Chinese metaphysics is like that. He look at this part, that fellow look at that part, but both of them is actually the one big part. Both of them is actually correct, from their own perspective, nothing wrong with it. Right, so then it said that Dunjia is basically in QiMen Dunjia, right? So it's in QiMen Dunjia 之中, right? So 本格之中, 最正军管. So in QiMen Dunjia, this fellow is the most auspicious and noble. So this is the sentence. So in the Yin Po Tiu Sao Code. So Mr. Interpretation, you try to interpret it. So what does it tell you? It frankly tells you nothing other than telling you that this heavenly bird is in the center palace, right? So it's earth in nature and is in QiMen Tunjia. This fellow is very highly regarded. Okay, so you can see last time type of text is like this. Every single classical text you read is basically like this. It is not like a English book. English book will give you definition. What does it mean? This come from where? That come from where? I am sure those things are available, but because again, we Chinese like to destroy books. It's one of our greatest activity or greatest hobby, right? So in the greatest hobby of a Chinese empire is once you attack another empire, you try to destroy the culture of the other empire to re-assimilate them. So what they do is every of this thing, right? So the actual research or the actual explanation all gone already. So everybody just holding the summary, and the summary become worse, and worse and worse as time goes by. So this is what the Yin Po Tiu Sao Code have it, right? So if you don't like Yin Po Tiu Sao Code, you can always read other. Like there is this QiMen Tuan Gap, right? So QiMen Tuan Gap, 秘密大全 right? So it's the QiMen Tuan Jia compendium secret. Wow, right? So you have put the you put the word secret there, it's just basically an enkata or a what you call those dictionary, or you want to call don't even remember what's the other word already, right? So it's basically those stuff, right? So it's written there, right? So this one is a bit longer, but it's still the same, right? So Tin Kam Sing Sok Tou. So this one also nice, yeah, it correspond, so it tells you that the the heavenly bird belong to the earth element. Right, so this one is basically signaling you need to be very, very well versed with the earth element. So some people might say that this is Wu Earth or Ji Earth. Never mentioned. Never mentioned. But Center Palace is basically the five yellow Earth. So if you are very well versed with the five yellow Earth, right, so you're very well versed with the five yellow Earth, then you can probably do that, right? So then Ju Zhong Gong, right? So it's staying in the Center Palace. So both of them confirm each other is that it's in the Center Palace. It's, Earth in nature, right? So Center Palace, Earth in nature, it doesn't tell you much, right? Doesn't tell you much, right? So Na Gao Gong Sing Ji Ju, right? So it's with the 9 stars, this is actually the boss. the boss of the 9 star. So this is like the 9 star chief of the 9 star. So if chief is the chief of the 10 deities. Jia is the head of the 10 stems. Then this is going to be the head of the 9 stars. So this is the boss of the 9 star, which somewhat correspond to the Impo Tiu Sao Kok said that in QiMen Tunjia, this fellow is very noble and thingy, right? So but up until right now, what information have you gotten? Nothing. Right? Right. So yam yi but hin, right? Yam yi but hin, so that it belong to yin. Yin mean that it is hiding and it is not showing. Yam yi but hin mean that it is something that usually is hiding, it's not showing. Yeah, if you look at the Qimen Tunjia plate, you won't see this particular bugger. Again, it doesn't show you anything. But if you want to go for hard interpretation, then this particular sentence, a lot of people will say that this particular star work behind the scene. It's a star that work behind the scene, right? So it's a star that doesn't really show it, right? So now you have this information and you need to be able to carve some usage out of it. It directly it did not tells you any usage. It just give you things, right? Then it's up to your imagination. Right? So why tuần cấp xì phong kin kề用, right? So it depend on time. The usage only can come up, but it didn't tell you on any usage. And this is a compendium. Right? So you gotta to study classical text. If you study classical text, this is what you are exposed to. Right? So that's why it is not really that easy. Right? So no, or else there's another classical text, you want to go and right. So go and go this Imperial QiMen Treasure Museum. Right? So Imperial, so again, Imperial is against another word that they like to use, right? Imperial, secret, all this stuff they like to use. When it's imperial, mean that only emperor and king uses it. Then must be very good, right? So when you use the word imperial, then must be damn good, right? So so again, it will tell you the 天琴錯鐘, right? 天琴主鐘, right? So center palace, right? So all the three of them, you reach every single one, they will tell you that the heavenly bird belong at the center. Again, this heavenly bird belong at the center does not really tells you anything, right? So then tiêu hợp bát công mean that all the 8 boxes is basically there to balance the 8, right? So which means that it has controlling power over the 8. So again, it correspond with the controlling the 9 star thing, right? So because the 9 star have to be in the 8 palace. Right? So it's the controlling factor in the 8 palace, right? So Yu Jiang Sui 坐镇, right? So Jiang Sui is the leader, the general, the whatever, whoever hold the flag, the leaders is basically the boss is in the house, right? So it's like the boss. So which means that this particular heavenly bird has the leadership ability, right? So it has the leadership ability, right? So right, so 不動而治四方, it does not move, so it stay in the center, but is able to control all directions. Okay, so these are some of the classical texts. You can go in the internet and search for the rest of the classical text to read. You will be equally blurred, please. Right, you will be equally blurred. So far, what is the information that is available? Center Palace, able to control the rest of the thing, is of earth characteristic. That is basically what information you have, right? So now with this particular information, you have to go and carve out what the hell is the use of heavenly bird. So that's why a lot of people ask, oh no, where can I get information from this? You cannot get information from this. Every single star is look like this. There's not a single classical text that tells you this one equal to this. Use it in this. Don't have. You want those, you go and get some human commentary. So this is where human commentary, it went all over the direction. All right, Mr. A said this, Mr. B said that. So this is where you guys start to see that, hey, seems like, Chinese metaphysics is contradicting each other. It is not contradicting each other. It's just that it is written in such a complicated, cryptic matter that it doesn't help people who read it. So, unless your foundational experience is pretty good, maybe you make sense out of it. All right, so now come, let's go back and take a look at it, right? So the what we call the heavenly bird actually represent common purpose in stars. Right? So in reading, it overarching theme is basically common purpose, right? So a lot of time I would say that the heavenly star represent a what we call an elder council. So if you have seen enough history before, no matter whichever dynasty it is, there is always an elder council behind it, right? So there always, this is called your ex-leader, right? So your ex-leader, right? So the old folks, right? So Red Indian has it, Chinese has it, English had it, Indian had it, everybody also have it. Like for us in Malaysia, you can call it an elder council. Call it an elder council would be the monarch system, our sultanate system. Right? So we have our government, right? So we have a government that's the elected government, but behind the scene we still have the royal family. They can be part of the elder council, which means that there are some people who give veto advice, right? Veto advice to the ruling government. Although the government run on its own, but there are certain things they will look at that particular, right. So it's like in the company also it's the same, right? Like in the company we always joke like uh the wife is basically the fella who is controlling everything, which means that when the boss want to do something, right, the eye will look at the wife first. Then the wife will, signal, okay, can do. Right. So the heavenly bird basically is that particular, you want to go group of people or that particular situation, whereby it gives an overarching controls over the rest of the thing. Just like how Skynet controls, all the Terminator. Right. So all the Terminator know what to do, right? Go chase after this, chase after that, Sarah Connor, whatever it is, right? So, but here's the thing, right? The overarching thingy is still the Cyberdyne Skynet. Right? So it's basically, the bird is the Cyberdyne Skynet lah. A lot of people only see Terminator chasing them. They do not see Cyberdyne Skynet giving the instruction. So same thing, right? So it's basically the same thing. So which means that even the chief is under the spell of this heavenly bird. So when the heavenly bird actually come in, it enhances everything. It's like the elder council come over and assist you, right? So you have the elder council coming over, right? So low sanzi, all the big, right, old folk coming together and assist you. And it's very, very powerful. Make the situation, really turn towards you. You make the situation really supportive of you. So this fella is pretty awesome. So only occasionally it will come out. Right. So when you occasionally come out, the plotter will basically have a small bird. If the plotter can give you a small graphic, they have a small bird in the box. Right? So everything in the box become positive. Everything in the box basically turns good. Right. So situation is usually righteous, very principled. Right. It usually has to do with doing the right thing. So that's what the elder council is for, is to preserve the, you want to say, the population or whatever it is, right? It's there to preserve the population. Make sure that things doesn't break. And that's where the elder council come in. So if it's not under emergency, elder council usually will not come. Elder council doesn't really come and interfere with everything, right? So they are basically chill group of people, right? So but they will come in and try to correct things when things are not right, or when the so-called appointed leader required certain amount of higher wisdom. They will all come in and try to, right. So yeah, it usually has big responsibility. Right? So it's already very, very responsible person. Right? So by the way, is the picture is also like somebody who is the brand ambassador. Right. So having the heavenly bird also means that you are subjected to certain amount of class. You hold a certain amount of things. So like a lot of celebrity that basically represent the sport. These celebrity are not allowed to do a lot of things. Right? So you have to hold up the standard. Actually, life suck or not. Most of them that I know, life suck. Right? Life suck as in there's a lot of things that they want to do, but they are not allowed to do. Right? So they cannot like, go crazy, go wherever it is that they want to go. They can't. Right? So that's why also a lot of time, this sort of celebrity with this sort of people will have a lot of responsibility and power. They like to go to places whereby nobody knows them. That is where they feel free. If they are in a place where people know them, right, that standard is there. Right? So they want to go to places where no one knows them. Right? So and these sort of people usually really treasure pure friendship. Right? So got some friends that really doesn't really care what they do, just there to spend time. They like this sort of. They're also very difficult to make friends. Right? So this is basically a heavenly bird. Right? So it does encourage fame and everything, which means that every time the heavenly bird come in, right, it just bump everything up a few notch. Right? So if you are chasing after fame, you bump the fame up a few notch. If you are chasing after power and authority, you just imagine if you're a leader, right, and then you got the backing of the council of elders. It shows a lot, right? It shows a lot, when you have the council of elder. Right, so these are all the people, like, if let's say that you're a basketball star, right, so basketball stars, and then you got the basketball council, where it's seated by the what we call the old passing basketball star. Then all these basketball stars right now, is basically in agreement with whatever that you are saying. It shows a lot of powers, which means that the entire system is basically backing you, right? Good, right? So this particular star is great. Right, so if you see it appearing, right, so if it's talking about spaces, then it talk about steady calm fella. A person is usually the fella is very steady, very calm, chubby, plump. What do you say, those this one, if you are a bit familiar with the Jing Rong is one of our great writers of wuxia world, right? So yeah, I know the 東邪西毒, right? So the 東邪西毒南開北唔係北開南帝北開. Then 有 one fella called 中神通 center, right? So 這 center, the fella is basically the 中神通, the fella is basically a fat fella, rather fat fella, very happy one. Among all of them, his kung fu is the best. Actually, his kung fu is the best. So because he has the ability to fight all four of them and survive. Right, so he has the ability to go and fight all four of them and basically survive the entire thing. So he is the fella who makes sure that these four fella doesn't kill each other, because all these four fella is required to maintain balance in the what we call kung fu world. Right, so all four of them is required. So the center fella is the fella is glue lor. He's basically the fella lah, right? So he's designated as somebody who is fat, chubby, sometimes very 冷冷真真, but really very good at dispersing all the hatred between each other person. You just go there and neutralize everything. Is those type of personality. And so they are very very let go, and they are very very assured of the situation. So that's why that also never mind one there, right? So if he's talking about what we call geographical, then it's an unused barren waste, right? A great potential. Unused barren wasteland, right? Is you also need to think of it from this, right? So a lot of time very powerful people, so again, right, very powerful people would go into these sort of places, unused or barren wasteland, places where other people won't go on to seek some peace. They don't want anybody to basically come and disturb them, so they will usually go to these sort of places. And what is saying that income thing usually is in these sort of places is because they just want a relaxing mood. They don't want the responsibility. So it says that these particular places usually have very important, maybe relic, very important person there, a very important incident that's happening. Like for example, you got your Area 51, right, in the US, right? So it's basically in a place of a desert, right? So no one goes there, right? So and a lot of you can see a lot of civilization which once very glorified is also in places which is desolated. And here come the little boy with his katana birthday present. Right? So you wanna tell people about your katana?
It's a sword.
It's a sword.
It's from anime.
It's from
The
anime.
anime is called Demon Slayer.
Yes, it's for demons.
The sword is Rengoku sword.
Rengoku sword.
Can I dress up as Rengoku for Halloween?
Maybe yes, maybe no. Because daddy need to go and find Rengoku. Go. Other thing cannot remember. This thing can remember. Right. So if you are reading weather, it's represent typhoon. Right. Little Prince is the demon slayer. No lah. Little King now. Right. Now you are Little King. No more Little King. Little King means that you have to pay for everything. Uh-huh. Little Prince or Little King? Still a little child, right? Still a little child, not want to be teenager yet, right? Or the teenager already don't want to be teenager yet, right? Huh? Okay, go. When daddy finish, then daddy bring you go out and eat. Okay? Okay? Right? So no government, everything, is basically represented by this heavenly bird. Right? So can you see that the heavenly bird is something that's awesome, but it work behind the scene. It doesn't, right now. Normally, kid would ask for a lightsaber. No, the kid doesn't watch lightsaber. Star Wars is so yesterday, uncle. Star Wars is yesterday thing, very yesterday.
I don't watch Star Wars.
Yes, you don't watch. You are anime about, right? Go and get yourself clean. Go and get your approved pants from your approved drawer. Right? Okay? Okay? Right? No need to repeat that every single. Okay, approved pants drawer. Okay, right. So then lastly, like usual, right? So the heavenly bird is a center palace bugger, right? So this is the what we call the slider, right? So you just take this as a slider, right? So you just take this as a slider, right? So you just slide around and it just changes what we call emphasis, but it doesn't change the nature of, right? So it's like it's more powerful, less powerful, but it's still powerful. It's like an explosion, more or less TNT only. Okay, right? So no, don't get too stuck up with it as, oh, if it's dead, does it mean that it cannot use at all? No, it just means it's a bit stuck. That's it. Right? It's just a bit stuck. Right? Because why not? So very simple, right? Heavenly Bird is supposed to function behind the scene. So right now you go to the South Palace, it becomes, yes. Go and get. Go and get. Go and get. Go and get. Right. So it go to the South Palace. South Palace is supposed to be the exposure palace, correct? And so the exposure palace, now people see the bird. Taiwan. Right now people see the elder council, right? So if you really seen before, the elder councils are usually people doesn't know who are the elder council. They don't show up because why? If you show up, people will start murdering your elder. So what happens when you go to the South Palace? People start to see you, right? South Palace is exposure, people start to see you. Right? So now you need to know why elder council always push other people to the front. Because why? You push another person to the front, all the attention is to that particular person, then they don't get seen. So heavenly bird is always people who work behind the scene. Dangerous people, sometimes yes. And yeah, there are people who work inside the shadow. They are the people who are behind it. Right? They are the controlling, right? So these are the people who basically decide who are the leaders. And so for those of you who are in democratic, no, the leader is decided by my vote. Come on, by now, you should wake up a bit. All the candidate that is put in front for you to vote is basically belong to elder council. Elder council is the one that select, does everything, and then I give you 3 candidates to vote. All these three belong to them. Okay, you vote any of these three, the result is going to be the same. Okay, all these three are basically just actor, they represent different acting, right? So it's like a company that produce product with different brand label. A lot of companies like that one. They got product which is luxury label. Like for example, car, you have your Lexus, which is the luxury label for Toyota, if I'm not wrong. Right. So then you got your Aquila, which is for Mazda, I think. Right? So there's always this. Right? So now even right now, China also got Cherry, then you got Jeku. Jeku is the luxury version of Cherry. What is it? You buy Jeku, you buy Cherry, same thing, same company. Same company make money. Understand or not, right? So that is basically the entire idea of Heavenly Bird. So Heavenly Bird, good or not? Good. Right? So when does it appear? Go and look at your chart. Right. Go and look at your chart when it appear. That time means that yay. Okay. Yes, like and subscribe. Okay, guys, right? So this is basically your Heavenly Bird, right? Hopefully, this is a bit helpful, right? So again, I just throw in some classical text inside, just to cheer you guys up, So for some of you who are, very academic, oh, classical text. Frankly speaking, go read. Not something that's digestible. Okay, right. So that's it for today, right? So see you again tomorrow, right? So tomorrow we'll be back. Does it appear in natal QiMen chart? Certain day only eclipse. Certain day it will appear. It will always be in the center. No, it always is in the center. It's always in the center. Occasionally the fella will fly out to one of the boxes. So if you see that, you got so if the fella got the Heavenly Bird inside the palace, your chart basically have Heavenly Bird coming out. Then this particular person is of noble status. Right? When you see noble status, please don't go and imagine, oh, the fella must be rich. Noble status mean that this fella always walk the right road. I usually say a bit ngongkoi, right? So a bit dumb. Right? The fella doesn't know how to play cheat. Right? Outright fight. So which means that if you're fighting somebody who's gonna use any other method. So street fighting lah. Street fighting means that you will use any other method, right? So you're gonna lose to that person, right? So you can only fight. You can only fight honorable fight, right? Dishonorable fight you will lose one. Is that type. It's Heavenly Bird, aka 情 啊，是天晴啦, right? So it's 天晴星. It's 天晴星, right? 晴 is a description on anything that flies. 蟬啊，蟬兽, anything that flies. 晴. Right? So 晴 is actually not an actual bird. It's not a bird species. It's basically a group of everything that basically flies. Cool. Right, so this is a lot of time is confused with Phoenix. Right? Confused with Phoenix. 凤凰 this is very confused with Phoenix. Okay. Bird appear in green. We read bird not green. You have to read everything. If you read everything. By the way, the bird always stick to the green. The hidden stamp always stick to the green palace. Always. Right. So you take a look at it. You got your accompany stamp. Stamp also, stamp also got 10 lah. Right. Also got 10 stamp, 9 stamp lah. 9 stamp lah minus your jia is 9 stamp. So one of the stamp will fall in the center, right? The center stamp will always be transferred to the green star. Okay, right. So if you take a look at it, it's always like that. So anything in the center get transferred to the green star when it's transferring. So go and transfer it over there. Okay. Right. So that's it for this particular episode. And thank you everyone for joining. And for those of you who find this information useful, right, please share it out. Right. So share it out to the rest of the people. It's like there's this awesome dude, me, very handsome, that you have seen some content, and the guy is really good at doing this. So come take a look, send it to a friend, please. Okay, guys, that's it. See you.